the chant that I do to begin my daily devotions to Inanna every day. I shared it most recently at the beginning of the guided meditation at the end of my Ishtar Fest presentation. I think I also included it in my Keen Inanna rituals that I did on Facebook Live last year. While it is in the Sumerian language, it's not actually part of any ancient practice from the Sumerians. It's a modern syncretized practice that I came up with to support my own modern worship of Inanna. I just wanted to clarify that before I go any farther. So this is something that I made up myself for my own practice. Last month in Circle of Inanna, Priska introduced a practice of chanting Inanna's name or epithets as a mantra, which ended up being essentially what I was already doing, except that I have a specific sequence that I do it in every time. But this was another beautiful example of how lots of practitioners end up making up the same practices that I'm already doing, which makes me think that maybe what I'm coming up with is actually divinely inspired in some way. The prayer consists of chanting 7 epithets of Inanna plus an additional line praising her, repeated 7 times. I recite it using a set of prayer beads that I made specifically for this prayer. I got the idea for this practice from when I learned Buddhist meditation practices involving mala beads years ago. I've also been experimenting with singing instead of just chanting for the past month after the circle where we worked on the similar practice. I based it around the number 7 because 7 is considered a holy number in a lot of traditions, including in ancient Mesopotamian traditions. I used lapis lazuli beads to represent each of the epithet lines, since lapis lazuli is considered holy to Inanna, and carnelian for the 8th line between each set, because I also see carnelian used for Inanna often. Then I used small gold beads between all of the beads. They're not actual solid gold due to budgetary constraints, however. There are 3 oval lapis lazuli beads coming from the carnelian guru bead here to represent the 3 domains of heaven, earth, and the underworld. And of course, I got a charm of Inanna's 8-point star symbol for the end. The first line is Inanna nin ana, which translates to Inanna, Queen of Heaven. Nin means lady or queen, An means heaven or sky, and Ak is added to the end of An to signify of, though the final K sound gets dropped. Without going too much into Sumerian grammar, Inanna is frequently referred to as Queen of Heaven, so I thought this would be the best line to use as the first line. She is also often called Queen of Heaven and Earth, so the second line is Inanna nin kia, which translates to Inanna, Queen of Earth. It's the same as the first line, but with An, heaven, swapped out for Ki, earth. The third line is Inanna ninme shara. This translates to Inanna, Lady of all the May. I took this line directly from the first line of the Exaltation of Inanna by the High Priestess in Hedwana. May, for those who don't know, is a Sumerian word referring to the divine powers that are required for civilization to exist. Shar means all or countless, and Ra at the end again indicates of. The fourth line is Inanna ninsha gura, which translates to Inanna, Lady of Largest Heart. This is based on another poem by the High Priestess in Hedwana, today commonly known as Lady of Largest Heart. Also Inanna C in the ETCSL. Shar means heart, and Gur means thick or big. Ra, again meaning of. Back in the day, the heart was thought to be associated more with will or volition than with love. So when we refer to Inanna as Lady of Largest Heart, we are saying that she is strong-willed or headstrong, rather than saying that she is all lovey-dovey or whatever. The fifth line is Inanna mul'ud mulsig. This means Inanna, morning star, evening star. I combined these two into a single line because they both refer to her in her astral aspect as the planet Venus, and putting them together emphasizes her contradictory aspects. Plus, I really wanted to make it exactly 7 lines of epithets plus 1 additional line of praise to capture the sacred number 7, plus the 8 points of her star symbol. I don't know that 8 is necessarily considered a sacred number, but I like to use the 8 points on her star to count the lines when I don't have my prayer beads with me. Before I actually put the prayer beads together, I did it by either looking at her star on her statue while I was sitting at my altar, or visualizing her star if I was away. I wrote the prayer and put a lot of thought into the number of repetitions and lines, and the types of beads to use before I bought the materials and put it all together. Inanna Ud and Inanna Sig were 2 of Inanna's aspects that were worshipped in Uruk: morning Inanna and evening Inanna. The third was Inanna Noon, princely Inanna, which isn't included in this prayer, but I do acknowledge in some of my other regular rituals. The 6th line is Inanna Dumu Gal Nana, which means first daughter of the moon, or more literally, great child of Nana. I was torn between using Gal, great, and Dumu saying firstborn. I ended up going with Gal because I cannot find anything definitive on whether Inanna or her twin brother Utu were born first. If you're a twin, you know that this distinction is very important. I kind of hope that Inanna was first, just because I was first. But since I don't actually know, I don't want to assume. I did find a reference to Utu as the firstborn son cherished by Suen. Dumu sang Suen ne mi in a poem to Utu and Shulgi, so perhaps Utu was born first. Dumu means child, either son or daughter, which makes exact interpretations somewhat challenging. I did find the term Dumu Munus for daughter in the EPSD too, which would literally mean child woman. But I don't know, I don't care for it, so I just went with Dumu. The exaltation of Inanna does refer to Inanna as Dumu Gal Suen, great daughter of Suen. But I prefer to use the original Sumerian names for the deities, however, so I refer to him exclusively as Nana in my practice. I just thought of this while I was planning this video, but I should probably change this line to Inanna Dumu Gal Ningal U Nana. Inanna, great daughter of Ningal and Nana. There is no reason to only acknowledge her father and ignore her mother, especially in 2025. The 7th line is Inanna Ama Puring Ana. Inanna, mother lioness of heaven. Ama means mother in Sumerian, and Puring means lion. I call my personal temple to Inanna A Ama Puring, Mother Lioness Temple. Lions are a sacred symbol of Inanna, and I kind of think of her as like a mother lioness who is protective of her devotees as though we are her cubs. Inanna Ama Puring Ana isn't a historically attested epithet as far as I know, but it's one that I use in my own practice that I feel is appropriate for her. I mean, all of her epithets were made up by her priests at some point in history, so there's no reason why her 2025 AD priests would be any less important to her than her 2025 BC priests. Then I end it with one final line of praise. Kug Inanna Zamizu Du Ga'am. Holy Inanna, it is sweet to praise you. Kug means holy, Zami means praise, with Zu indicating your. Dug is sweet or good, and Ga'am is it is. So altogether, it's holy Inanna, your praise is sweet, or it is sweet to praise you. I think I first saw this phrase at the end of the descent myth, except in praise of Erishkigal, so I just swapped out the divine names. And then at the end of the 7 repetitions, I say Hayam, which means so be it. Basically the Sumerian equivalent of so mote it be or amen. I know a lot of pagans like to say stuff like a woman or variations of that as a replacement for amen, but I personally find this a little cheesy since the Hebrew amen isn't actually etymologically related to the word man anyway. And making it a man versus woman thing kind of feels like wandering into gender essentialism territory, which I feel is a problematic theme that sometimes shows up in modern pagan practices. While Inanna is a goddess, she does embody traits that society considers both feminine and masculine. So I don't know, I just feel like focusing too much on gender differences is not how we honor Inanna. Okay, so that's how I came up with my daily prayer to Inanna and how I use my prayer beads. I'm still learning Sumerian, so I'm not 100% sure if everything is completely correct or not, but I don't mind changing it up later as I learn more. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to do all the YouTube liking and subscribing things, and I'll see you next time.